All right, here we go. So if you saw my last video, this got towed because I didn't know how to shift to neutral. So check out that video. I'll put it in there or link in the description, one of those. But when the guy towed my truck, my SUV truck, the problem is he didn't know how to hook up the chain to the car, to the vehicle. So he hooked it on the lower control arm. Bad, don't do that. I don't know, I'm not a tow truck person, and I'm just learning things as I go with this car too. So he hooked it up to there, the one that's sticking down, figuring that's the smartest thing to do, which is incorrect. It's not the smart thing to do. Because of that, he ruined the ball and socket joint that goes there. That thing. So that thing is filled with hydraulic fluid that keeps the car stable while stopping, turning, aggressive curves, all the above. So without that, the car will like veer off one way or the other. So we're gonna have to fix that because my wife drives this car and we take this car on long trips. Last thing I want to have this thing kind of shudder and jerk one way or the other, left or right, when I'm turning aggressive curves. So I'll show you how to fix that. BMW wanted $2,700 to fix both control arms. We're going to do it for 1/4 the price of that. And you'll see in a minute. But I'll flash across the screen what that leaking fluid looks like right about now. So to get this job done, I found these on Amazon. You can buy it separately or in a pair, but I happen to have them coming separately. They'll be labeled left or right. And if you don't know, right side is always the driver's perspective. So you're sitting in the car there, facing toward this way. Amazon sell these for a pair for $150. So of course, BMW wants $500 per side, and the cost of installation, labor, $2,000, taxes, $2,700. That's what they're telling me. Anyway, you can get one of these from Amazon. It's labeled left or right on it. So that says left. I mean right. This says left. And actually, the way it looks is not how it sits. It actually sits like this, downward like this. We're gonna do this using aftermarket parts. So other things, you're gonna use gloves, nitro gloves, safety goggles, flashlight, impact driver. This is a half-inch impact, half-inch ratchet with a 24mm socket. So I don't have a wrench, ratchet wrench, open wrench that's 24mm, but that's what equivalent is 5/16. If you don't know, 5/16 is the same as 24mm. So the new ones, because these are aftermarket, requires a 21mm to put these back. So this fits here like so. And then these 17s are for the lug nuts. So those will take off the lug nuts. We may have to take off the underbody cover. This is 8mm 1/4 drive ratchet set. I got this from Walmart, super cheap. I think like $10. Also grabbed this from Walmart. The guy recommended I watched on YouTube. I forgot his name. Nick Fix-It, I think that's his name, but I'll try to put the link in the description below. Highly recommends using the blue thread lock. Doesn't hurt, so it doesn't vibrate out on the way out. Prevents vibration loosening. So there's that. You need a 3/8 drive with extension. You do need a T40. So this is a T40. The reason because this T40 fits in the aftermarket here. Prevents it from spinning when you're trying to take these nuts out. But on the OEM, it's a T50. That's the reason you need the T50. So underneath there, you're gonna have to use this, same idea. You're gonna use this to hold down the center nut while you're unloosing the 24mm. The other thing I mentioned was you do need an inverted E40 because BMW likes to do things weird way. So these have the special inverted sockets there. For that, you're gonna need that to take out the bolt that holds this in. This is hydraulically filled. When it goes bad, it'll leak. I'll flash across the screen. And if you stay until the end, I'll show you what it looks like on the old one. And then the last thing is you need a 17 millimeter, but which says here H17 Allen wrench or hex socket. This is a 1/2 inch drive. I got this also from Amazon. And the reason you need this is you're going to take out the CV axle to be able to take out the ball joint, because that's going to be in your way. And more and more I'm trying to torque everything down. So I'll torque everything to spec, and instead of, I'll probably repeat some of it during the procedure, but I'll put all the torque specifications that I found online in the description below. At least I'll put it in the pinned comments. All right, so those are the tools you're gonna need. Again, if I haven't said it already, there is a disclaimer that I am not a professional by any means. I'm just doing this in my driveway. So best of luck to you. All right, first thing to do is gonna jack up the car. So I got the chocolate wheels up back there, right there. And put some extra support. This is a 4-ton jack, got from Walmart. I also got a regular scissor jack just to support if the car happens to lose traction, whatever. Safety first, safety third. 2 jack stands, they're only 2 tons. I should get really 4-ton jacks, but here's what it is. Take these bolts off. These lug nuts are 17 millimeters, so take them off. And then a little bit later we'll mess with this. This is the 17 millimeter hex axle drive nut. We're going to take that out. But first things first, we can't get to this. This is the part we're looking at. So right here is the part we're going to replace. Unfortunately, this cover is blocking it, so we're going to move all these 8 millimeter screws with the tool I showed you earlier from Walmart, and then we're going to take out the 24 millimeter with the hex middle bolt there to kind of hold that in. Let's get started. Right here, you gotta take out the middle one first, then you can get the side one. So let's take out the middle one. So any 8 millimeter you see, just take it all out. All right, next you're gonna move these 18 millimeter brackets that's blocking the E20 bolt that's holding this together. So you have to remove this. There's 1, 2 here. 1, 2 here, 2 over there, so 4 all together. But these are 18 millimeters. Once this gets out of the way, we can get to the E20 bolt that's holding this low control arm from there. After you remove the underbody covers and you remove this one, this is the bracket that's covering the lower body control arm, lower control arm. These are 18 millimeters, kind of rusty. I'll probably hit that up with some anti-seize. So once you remove that, it'll reveal the E20 bolt that is blocking this hole right here, which we see here. It's like an E20 socket attached to my 1/2-inch drive. So ratchet out this bad boy. And the beauty of this thing is this little nut back here. See it? They call it a stopper nut. So, or a clip nut. So that's a 21 millimeter. You don't really need to, worry about that, because the point of it is, you can see it's actually bracing up against this piece as you unscrew this E20 bolt down there. Yeah, get it? Got it? Good. All right, next we're gonna do the ball joint part. So what we do have up is a 24 millimeter wrench with a T50 hex, so it keeps the ball joint from spinning as we do that. So I got pretty much this thing pretty loosey-goosey. It's right here, this E20 bolt. That's pretty loose. You can actually hand loosen that. Then next we're going to work on this. So I have it set up that way the ball joint doesn't spin as I take that out. After we're done with that, the next steps we have to actually take off the CV joint, because this does not allow for me to lift up out of the way to kind of wiggle out. That way you have to actually move the CV joint to do that. All right, keep going. You're doing great. All right, this is loose. This is an E20 bolt. This is out. This is your 24 millimeter with a T50. Here's the nut right here. So now let's remove the E20 bolt. You stick to the end. I'll show you why these things are in bad shape. You need to replace them because it's hydraulic filled. I'll show you in a second. When the guy towed my truck, my SUV, he hooked onto this. He said he hooked it onto something else, like, I don't know, down here or something, because this sticks out a lot. So he decided to hook up his hitch to that, his wedge or winch. So just backing off this E20 bolt. It's a long one. That's it coming, bro. Oh my God. Oh, there it is. Told you it was long. Now, biggest problem is getting this ball joint out of here. See how that's the CV joint is actually in my way. And these are not, they're not pressed on anything. You can actually, like I did it, lift it up my finger and come off the seating area. But let's take a look-see. Yeah. So we're going to take off the CV joint. That's going to be a T17 hex. So you've seen my daughter's car. I did the humming noise coming from the ball joints in the back for the 2007 Honda CR-V. Same concept here, but the difference is this is a 17 millimeter hex. We're going to take this out. I don't recommend a impact wrench. I recommend a breaker bar. That way you're not ruining anything inside, because inside there's some rubber gaskets you're gonna have to save. And the difference on a BMW is, on the CV joints, they have splines on the actual rod itself. And the BMW, the spline is contained within this thing right here, this disc. So the splines are actually locked into this disc right here. So go ahead, we'll break this with a breaker bar with 17 millimeter, and then we'll finally move the axle out of the way so we can get the lower control arm out, because right now that is in our way. All right, let's hop to it. Let's try this again. All right, catch that? That's how I did that. It's called leverage. Now we can take out the center bolt, push the CV joint back. We don't need this anymore. We do need this though. I can hear there's a spring back there too. Just going slow. We'll torque everything back to step. Gentle. Whenever it comes out, catch it. I'll probably throw in some axle grease in here. High temp axle grease. Here it is. So yeah, it's got all the fixings. So you don't lose that spring. Be careful how it comes out. And there's a little washer here. So the spring, washer, don't lose any of that stuff. All right, we'll keep that close by. I have to finagle those two hands. There it is. Whew. All right, so put it back is the opposite how we took it out. I'll put this back, and I will put some blue thread tape on there just to make sure that will vibrate out. Pro tip is you don't want to torque this part, the E20 bolt, yet, because you need the full weight of the car on it before you torque it down. And the torque spec for that one is 122 foot-pounds with the weight of the car on. So you just want to snug it up. You can torque this one down here. This is going to be your ball joint. That torque spec for that one will be 75 foot-pounds for the torque spec for the ball joint. So 75, 122 with the weight of the car on. So you can torque this one, but you can't torque this one yet. You have to lower the car back down, put the wheels back on, and then torque it to spec. All right, I did throw some high temperature axle grease in there, just for kicks and giggles before I insert the hex, 17 millimeter hex. So there's the setup. So I'm going to torque this down to 155 foot-pounds, and using that breaker bar as a brace to counteract the turning. So I put everything in by hand, just use it by hand, and then I started using the 1/2-inch ratchet. Now I'm going to use the breaker bar and set this to 155 foot-pounds. Also got this from Amazon. Sorry, the leg's gonna be away here. I'm not bad. 155, folks. So let's torque down the spec. Moving on. Fix that back up. Now let's work on the lower control arm. Like I said, we'll torque the E20 bolt to spec when we lower the car to the ground. All right, the update here. It's pitch dark. I won't get to the other side, but like I say, I won't film the other side anyway. So because you're gonna have to lower the car to torque this down anyway, to put this E10 E20 bolt in, this was not lined up. These holes were not lined up, so I decided to just put the tire back on, let go of the weight on the tire, and then pressure from the car being on this, push it into alignment. So I was able to snug it in now. Perfect. So little pro tip there, it is aftermarket, so it won't fit as perfectly as you would like. You just got to be creative, and this is how you remedy that. Just lower the car a little bit. It's actually still on the jack stand a little bit there. Just put a little weight on it, that way it pushes the lower control arm into alignment. So snug everything up with the clip bolt, and we'll torque it down to 122 foot-pounds with the full weight of the car on, and that jack will actually be off the frame. That way you get the full effect. All right, it's getting kind of dark, as you can see. As you can't see, huh? One thing I did want to mention, this bolt right here, for this ball joint, it's kind of small. So I'm gonna buy, preferably not aluminum. You're gonna use steel, because there's a lot of weight sitting on this washer. So you're gonna put an extra washer kind of bigger than this that comes with the aftermarket. You know, just little things. It is aftermarket after all. It is not OEM. So, but it's still way better than paying $2,700, folks. All right, so we'll do the other side tomorrow over there, and then we'll wrap things up. Thanks for being patient with this video. Again, I'm doing this in my driveway. I can see that's my driveway. All right, it got dark. I couldn't do anything, so what I did was manage to lower the car back down like we talked about. Then you're gonna torque everything to spec. So this is gonna be 122 foot-pounds. Here's my ghetto fab setup. So this is in the way. So I had to put a swivel to a half-inch drive going to your E20, extending all the way out. So because you need leverage, I put a jack stand here, connecting to that part, and then a jack stand here, give me that leverage to 122 foot-pounds. So a little ghetto fab, but it works. So a little pro tip, you stayed around that long. We'll torque that down and then raise the car back up. We'll take the wheels off again, make everything snugged up. All right, because this is an aftermarket, we have to fabricate a couple things. So this is a 24 millimeter from the OEM part. This is 21 millimeter from Amazon. So if you notice, this ring is bigger. So we're gonna put a little extra oomph. So I bought this from Lowe's. You can get this from Home Depot, whatever. Make sure it is a 5/8 inch ring with an opening that'll fit your ball joint, and that'll go over the top like that. I'm gonna do that down there. All right, we're gonna apply some blue thread lock. Put it in there, it'll dry in like 10 minutes. Here's your washer. Goes over like so. Here's a nut. And you're gonna torque this down to 75 foot-pounds. There you go. Gives a little extra oomph to it. There you go. T40 and 21 millimeters, so it's all aftermarket. A bit different from the OEM. It's just to make sure it doesn't spin, but after a while you're not going to need this anymore, this T40 hex. Everything's snugged up. All right, the car has been semi-lowered. It's still on the jack. Just put a little pressure on it so I can torque the wheels to spec. So it's gonna be a 103 is what you want to torque it to. Right there. And if you don't know, you want to crisscross. It's basically go left, right, or across from each other. That way the wheel evens out before you even lower it to the ground. So I'm crisscrossing. All right, since you guys stuck around this long, comment below. Pro tip at the end. That way I know you watched this video to the end. So here's the failure. As you can see, it's already leaking. So these are hydraulic filled. That's pretty bad there. It was leaking like that. Because the guy, when he towed it, he hooked it up to my lower control arm. So you can see it's dripping a lot. And maybe you can feel where it ripped. Yeah, right there. See that little crack there? That's an issue right there. So you can't just replace one side. You're gonna have to replace both sides. And cheap enough, you get them for, like I said, a total 150. But you know, because you guys stuck around so much, I wanted to show you the reason why you need to replace it. Because you can see this little crack there, and it's already dripping liquid because these are hydraulic filled. All right, all done. I'll put back together. So we got two new lower control arms. So this thing should be running pristine after this. You know, this we've gone through a lot. I did how to change it to neutral to get towed, causing this issue. So we saved ourselves $2,700 by doing this ourselves. Minus the cost of the parts, you know, about $150, $160 from Amazon. Be able to do it, save 0.4% of what the dealer would have charged me to do it. So if you like this kind of content where it help you with cost savings by doing your stuff yourself, well, this is the channel for you. Make sure you subscribe here. Yeah, I appreciate everybody subscribing to this channel, and the new people that has joined my channel. I really appreciate the support that you guys are giving me. All right, we'll keep going. Who knows, maybe we'll get a Tesla soon. We'll see. All right, I'll see you in the next one.